and Tasty Cakes podcast. I'm Bert Lepore. He's Sammy of Monte Carlo. We're hanging here with Angry Mike D, and we talk about music, movies, and so much more.
All right, Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes, episode 148. This one we're going to review, rank.
You remembered this week.
Yeah. Surprise. Doing the Iron Maiden, our favorite Iron Maiden album cover rankings. We didn't count the live records. We didn't count the greatest hits records.
Or the EPs.
I don't think they did a greatest hits record, but
they did. They got like two of them.
Do they really?
Do they really?
And both the covers are pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
I like the live one.
What was the one for like the video game or something?
Oh, that was that was a different compilation thing. I don't even know if that was official,
so,
but there was two. There was two.
Okay. Yeah, they have a shitload of live ones and everything. But we just did the studio records. Keep it.
Yeah, and even
simple.
back in the
Keep it
day,
short.
like there were some single ones, like the Purgatory one. You had
Those were cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were great.
All the single album covers were
right. Yeah, and then even like
T-shirts and everything.
Charlotte the Heart. I think it was a Charlotte the Heart one. Was that the one where she was sitting near the
I don't
mirror
remember
makeup
that
thing? Oh, dude, there were so many cool ones back in the day. There really was. But
Yeah.
there's like Dave said, there's so many of them. So we just did the studio albums pretty much.
17.
Yeah. So we'll
only 17.
Okay.
Only 7.
We'll count down from 17 and we'll talk about the album cover a little bit. So here we go. Coming in at number 17, Dance of Death. Artist, if I say it right, David Pachette, or Paquette. Maybe it's Paquette. Might be Paquette.
Paquette.
Dance of
Death.
Dance of Death. Damo, what's your thoughts on the Dance of Death?
I kind of like this album cover. I think I had it somewhere like around, I don't know. I didn't number mine. 13 or 14 out of 17. I mean, personally, I like all the Iron Maiden album covers. I think they're like one of the bands where all the album covers were cool. This one I actually liked. Is kind of eerie with everyone wearing masks and everything, and I don't know, I like sort of like a masquerade kind of theme or something. But
it
wasn't.
So like an eyes wide shut kind of party.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with like masquerade type masks. Not so much horror there, but I guess
these are all our our country's leaders on the cover and stuff like that.
Yeah, like some sort of like cult like thing.
Yep. How about you, Mike? Oh, I'm sorry, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, it's just cool album cover.
I had this. This was my last one, I believe. I mean, I don't think it's a bad album cover. All in all, it's got that. It reminds me very like AI, and I know this was out like before they started doing the AI stuff. But I mean, here's the deal with me. I think it's a cool album cover. Don't get me wrong, but when I look at an Iron Maiden album, if I cover up the word Iron Maiden, I want to know who it is.
Right.
So it's like I feel like this doesn't, besides the writing, doesn't feel like an Iron Maiden album to me at all.
Right.
Maybe if they used Eddie as the masks they had on them, but I don't know. There's not much that really leads me to believe that it's an Iron Maiden album.
Right. This ranked low for me, but there is stuff I do like about it. I wish it was. I wish the people were a little more realistic looking. I think it would have been scarier looking if they were.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the color scheme. I love the floor where it's got with that like that sun kind of
like an Alice in Wonderland kind of thing.
I like that. I actually like. I think it could have been a great album cover. It just looks a little cartoony. If it wasn't cartoony looking, I probably would like it a lot. And if the Reaper of course is Eddie. Got to be Eddie underneath there. So
but it doesn't really look like him though. That's the thing.
It's far away. It's a far away shot. But I like the idea, but it still comes in at 17, of course. But not bad at all. All right, coming in at number 16, as we look at the charts here, Virtual XI. What you got,
Virtual
Damo?
11.
Virtual. I always say XI. Virtual XI. Virtual 11.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably my least favorite Maiden record, and it was my least favorite album cover. Yeah, I mean, it's got like it's a picture. Personally, I don't think that is Eddie.
It doesn't look like.
Yeah, it could be like a variation of Eddie, or maybe like Eddie's cousin or something. But
it reminds me like Eddie mixed with the clown from It.
Yeah, right.
Well,
yeah,
you know what?
Kind of look like that.
It's
yeah.
I didn't say it, but Melvin Grant was the artist, and he's the same artist who did Fear of the Dark. So it's that Eddie face, that vampire kind of Eddie looking face.
Right.
So that's probably it. I guess it matches his Eddie version, you know?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's not like your typical Eddie, but yeah, just not bad. Like I said, I think all the covers are they're great covers, but as far as this was my least favorite.
Right. Mike D.
Yeah, this was probably like third from the bottom for me. It's not a bad cover, don't get me wrong, but it's like if I went in the store and saw this, I'm like, man, who's this band trying to rip off Iron Maiden?
Yeah. I don't know. It ranked low for me, but there is stuff I do like about it. I love the color scheme. It's got this, these bright reds and then these dark kind of crimson reds. It's got a soccer field in the background, which is kind of interesting, and it's got like a kid
the Europeans like their soccer.
They love their soccer.
Yeah,
they got the I kind of like it. It's pretty futuristic to where we're at now, kind of, because it's got the kid or the guy or whatever sitting down, and he's got the earphones on with the fucking virtual mask on, which is kind of cool. There's a lot going on.
They love the sock. They love
it. There's a lot going on. I don't know, would it make sense to, but there's these screaming kind of like demons, and it's actually a pretty cool album cover. I think if it was the older Eddie face, it probably would have been better. But not bad. Not bad at all.
Right.
Okay, coming in at number 15, Matter of Life and Death, artist Tim Bradstreet. Damo, what you got?
Yeah, I had it at like 14 on my list. So this one came out 15. So I know you guys didn't like it either. Yeah, I think there's too much in the background to me. And I think that's supposed to like it you should be able to spot Eddie right away.
Yeah.
And like, okay, I think that's him on top of the tank, but it's really, really hard to see that, right?
Right.
Real, I'm thinking he was the decal. That's where you really.
Well, I think he's still at the top of the tank too. I think.
Yeah. I mean, but like I'm looking at it on my computer on their website, and it's a nice size, and it's kind of hard for me to see that. And there's like a zombie, like kind of, zombie like skeleton army dudes like in front of the tank. I mean, the focus should have been like the tank and Eddie on top of it, I think. But
yeah,
it kind of gets lost in my opinion. And it could have been really cool. I mean, it still is cool, but it would have ranked higher if it was more of the tank and Eddie and less of the other stuff around it.
Yeah, Mike D, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was originally made for Megadeth. To tell you the truth, it looks more like a Megadeth album.
It does.
Cover. It's not a bad album cover at all. It just doesn't say Iron Maiden to me.
Yeah,
except for like there's a little Eddie logo on there.
Yeah,
that's about it.
This ranked low for me. It's ranked like 16. It's not that it's bad. It's just like, like you guys said, there's no really focus on Eddie. And that's what you want to see. We want to see Eddie focused. It would make a cool back cover, maybe,
Yeah, I could see that. Mm-hmm.
I think a cooler back cover. Not bad, but kind of too much going on. It's going to counter, what one of our higher ones are. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's just, it's kind of boring, I think, though. Good artwork, but kind of, it
looks more like a death metal type of like album cover,
like an SOD album cover or something like that.
Yes, but I mean, I don't think it's bad. It's just not.
It don't pop like some of the other ones. All right, coming in at number 14, Final Frontier, Melvin Grant. What you got, Damo?
That was 14 Final Frontier.
Yep.
Yeah, I had that pretty much like right around there. Yeah, actually, you know what? If I had to redo this again, I probably would have put this where did I put this at? I put this at 14. I probably would have put it at like 16 or something. I'm not crazy about this album cover. I mean, it's like an alien, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like an Eddie
It's
type
the same
alien.
guy who did the Virtual and Fear of the Dark. So
Yeah.
it's that version of Eddie.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this. He looks more like Predator to me, right?
The editor, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it
the
reminds
editor.
me of. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not digging it.
Mike D, what you got?
It reminds me of like one of those like old movie boxes at the video store, like those alien, like the generic alien creature kind of
Yeah,
in space. But again, it's not terrible. It's just if you cover up the name, you think it's Iron Maiden.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, the color scheme is really good. I like the color scheme. I get the space thing. I actually thought this was going to be their last record, the Final Frontier. I thought it was the last record when it came out. The artwork inside was okay too, but it's cool. Same thing, though. I don't think any of us really like that version of Eddie, that vampire-looking Eddie kind of thingy, and that's like an alien vampire.
I do like the Fear of the Dark one though, but
I kind of like that one a little bit too.
Yeah, but I agree. I'm not really a fan of that.
Yeah,
version.
yeah. So that ranked a little low for us. Coming in at 13 from Derek Riggs, No Prayer for the Dying. What you got, Damo?
Yeah, I think this was his last album cover from like the original run because he was doing them nonstop from the first one up until this album. Then they had some other artists come in and then he came back. But yeah, I mean it's kind of plain. Like I could see this on like a definitely like a t-shirt or single or something, but for the album cover, I don't know. I mean, what is it, like him coming out of like a crypt or something?
Yeah, and there's like a guy, if you look at the extension of it, there's like this guy where he looks like he's getting ready to choke kind of deal, which you don't really see in this picture, but
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, I kind of wish there was more going on in this. It's just a little plain, but I like it. Just a little plain though, I thought.
yeah. Mike D.
Yeah, I think they actually changed the album cover because if you look at, there's two different versions of it, and one it looks like they airbrushed a hand in a different position because the other one he has the guy around the neck.
Yeah.
I don't know why they changed it, but I mean I don't know. I didn't hate this one. It kind of has the old Eddie look to it almost.
Yeah, right. It's
so I really didn't hate it. This one didn't bother me at all. This is kind of like middle of the pack for me.
Yeah, this is one of my least favorites. I just found it boring. It looked like Dame said, a single, or or maybe if they came out with another live record, this would have been a single off the live record. Yeah, like.
But I'm happy that it's Iron Maiden by just looking at it.
Yeah, but even when this came out, I mean, this album grew on me in general too. When I first got this record, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like the production of it. I liked nothing about it, and then it kind of grew on me. Now I kind of like the record, But the album cover was the same as the record. I thought it was really stripped down, not much going on, kind of boring, especially when you've seen some of them other album covers they did with so much going on and so much color and stuff like that, So yeah, it's I think it's in a good spot. It's kind of like low middle, middle low. Okay, coming in at number 12, the latest one they put out and it's Mark Wilkinson, which is he also did another one up here too. This one is Senjutsu. What you got, Damo?
Yeah, I like it. I actually ranked this at number 10 on my list. I'm a sucker for Japanese kind of artwork and samurais and stuff, and it's basically like Eddie as a samurai. Really basic color scheme, real dark, a lot of like black, red, grays and stuff, or silver or whatever all that is, gold, I don't know. Just like darker tones. Background is there's nothing going on. There's nothing in the background, so it is sort of plain. So it might contradict what I said about the No Prayer for the Dying being kind of plain, but I think on this it kind of works. Works more. It's a senjutsu. It's a Japanese. Just kind of it's kind of fits. You don't really need much on that, but yeah, I kind of liked it.
Mike D.
I like it. I mean, you could kind of see it's Eddie in it, but at the same time, like I don't know, a lot of the later ones, after the original artist stopped doing them, it just seems like Eddie had like there was just something playful about him too. You know, from Killers on, he had this like half grin almost of him, like, or he had a personality to him.
Yeah,
and it just seems like at a certain point he lost that personality, and it just became, oh, we're going to make just this monstrous looking picture, and that's what this one feels like to me. Even though it's really cool looking, other than that, there's really nothing in the background. It's just kind of boring.
yeah. I mean, if you look at it, it looks like to me there's three Eddie types. You have the Melvin Grant, which is kind of like the vampire kind of looking Eddie, right? You have the Derek Riggs, which is the Eddie that we all grew up on, and then you have the Mark Wilkinson one, which Mark Wilkinson also did a Book of Souls, and it's like three different Eddies. There's three different kind of Eddie faces going on.
Right.
It's still Eddie, but just slightly, something slightly different for all of them. Senjutsu, I love the Japanese stuff like Dame. I'm a sucker for it. The artwork and all that, and the CD and album itself looks great. I just wish there was a little bit more going on. It's kind of plain to the point. It looks cool. It looks like they definitely use and they're in the digital era now, you could tell, because it kind of looks real, but not real, kind of like AI-ish, right? It's got, I mean, the artwork's great. The face detail's great, but it's that different face. And like to what Mike said, it's more like the evil Eddie instead of the, I'm up to no good Eddie. The other Eddie was kind of like, he was bad, but he was a strapper kind of, This is just like, this is just like, I'm a monster. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I am a sucker for the Japanese stuff, and I mean, it's still really good. It's still really good. All right, guys, moving on. Number 11, Damo's favorite. From how do you say his name? Usim.
Hugh Syme.
He's
the artist.
Who Damon's going to smarten us up because he did a bunch of them, which I didn't know until Dame told me. He did X Factor. That comes in at number 11. Damo, give us some info.
Yeah, this is my favorite album cover. And I actually really like the record too. The first one, Blaze Bayley, but I like the album cover so much because it's, when I first saw it, it came out like 95 or something. I was blown away because it was like Eddie, like real life. Like if they were going to make a movie with Eddie as like this horror character, this is exactly what he would have looked like.
He's got that Jason Voorhees kind of face going on a little bit.
Yeah, it's I mean it's the cover is pretty much like it's like he's in like some sort of like contraction where they're kind of like, I don't know, dismantling him or putting him together or something, kind of like Frankenstein or something. Like half his body is off. He's got like all this machinery like attached to his brain and everything. But it's it just looks so real, and it always creeped me out. And I don't know, I just thought it looked, it was like real. It was like Eddie being real, and the artist Hugh Syme, had no idea he did this album cover, but now it all makes sense because a lot of the Rush album covers, and he did a lot of the Megadeth ones, Get a Grip from Aerosmith. So basically his stuff is like realism. And he did Bon Jovi, New Jersey, and he did the White Snake 87, and those are like similar album covers.
Yeah, you said Kingdom Come, all that same kind of. That's when it was kind of like you did this like cool looking background with the logo kind of deal.
Yeah. So sort of like it was like more like realistic sort of like stuff like Photoshop before there was even Photoshop kind of.
I mean, if you look at this, it looks like if we typed in Eddie from Iron Maiden in the torture chamber or whatever in an AI, that would probably pop up something like that. I mean, I think if looking at it now, it's really ahead of its time, way ahead.
Yeah, I think so. I thought so. I mean, for 1995, I thought it was way ahead.
I mean, this is where we're at now. If you type that in AI, you would get something like that. If that didn't exist.
I mean, if they didn't do that back then, I'm sure they would do something like that now. Yeah. I don't think they will do it again now because they did it before, and I don't think they'll go down that road. But for them to do that, something like this at that time I thought was pretty.
It was
Like
unique.
I said, pretty head.
What year did you say this was?
95 that came out.
It's a long time ago, right? It's almost 25, no, almost 20 years.
20 years
No,
ago.
20,
30 years.
30
Shit.
years. Jesus. My
19
math.
Man, God. Yeah, I still think like the 90s is like 10 years ago.
I know, it's bad. Yep. Mike D,
Wow.
what you got on the X Factor?
Not a fan of it. Like, I don't know. Besides, like, I feel almost sympathetic for Eddie in this one. Like, I feel bad for him for what's going on. I don't want to have to feel bad for Eddie, man. Like, I want to enjoy like what he's doing evil, you know?
Yeah.
Besides, like, Peace of Mind, which was like another one where he didn't seem like he was in control either.
Well, this looks like it would have been right before Peace of Mind, looking at the art, right?
Or right,
and then now he's in the Peace of Mind thing, or maybe something like that. It would work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to look at the album cover. Man, I feel bad for Eddie. Look what the fuck they did to him. You know, he's like trapped in this device. It's like I want to see like this is Iron Maiden. Like Eddie's in your face, man. Like coming right at you. Or, this just seems I don't know too sympathetic for him.
Yeah. It's a darker color scheme for the record. The Iron Maiden logo is kind of etched in like this. I don't know what you would
like
call
stone
it.
Or something.
Yeah, like stone or something like that. Definitely way ahead of its time. Cause this is what you would get out now if you just typed in something for the AI stuff. Way ahead of its time. Pretty crazy looking. Almost like back in the day the way they made like those puppets kind of thing and made them like realism kind of. It kind of reminds you of that too. I mean, it's pretty cool. It definitely would have fit hand in hand with Peace of Mind, with the whole, I guess, lobotomy and stuff like that. I mean, it's definitely neat. And guess what? I'm with Dame. I actually like the album itself. The first Blaze Bayley record. I didn't like the mix, but it was good. It was good. I like the first one. I think there's some strong songs in there. They do them with Bruce now. It's how good some of the songs are.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. Do it with Bruce, but man, I'm never going back to that
album. All right,
no
guys.
way.
Coming in, here comes the top 10. Derek Riggs comes back when Bruce Dickinson comes back. Brave New World. What you got, Damo?
Yeah, it's a cool album cover. There's a lot of stuff going on. Eddie is sort of like his face is sort of like in the clouds, kind of, and he's looking down on London. Yeah, because you see London Bridge right there, so it is London, I believe. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it was like their reunion record with Bruce Dickinson. It was a good, solid record, I thought, and it's a cool album cover.
Yeah. What do you got, Mike?
Yeah, I really like this one, man. I had this kind of middle of the pack, but I could have put this a little bit higher with the next four. But yeah, I thought it was a really cool album cover. Just looking over, was that London? I thought it was sort of like a dystopian kind of or futuristic looking set. I couldn't.
Well, it looks like London Bridge at the very bottom of it, right in the bottom.
So it probably is London. Maybe it just looks like a weird
futuristic
look of it. Yeah.
Same thing. I think it's a pretty good album cover. I like the Eddie in the clouds. I like that you could see the different little screaming face in the background. Kind of like we can barely see it, but it's there. Yeah, and there's probably so much more going on if we were able to really zoom in. I'd never seen an album version of it, so there's probably so much going on, these little details with the city and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And same thing, record's good too. Yeah, good reunion for Derek Riggs and Bruce Dickinson coming back on that one. Coming in at number 9, Melvin Grant, Fear of the Dark. What you got, Damo?
Yeah, I actually had it at number 9 on my list. I like the album, and I really like the album cover. It was the first one that Derek Riggs didn't do, and yeah, you know what it reminded me of? You ever see Poltergeist? The scene where the kid he's in his bedroom and the tree, so that's what it always reminded me of. I don't know if that was like some sort of inspiration for this album cover.
That's pretty good,
but it kind of reminded me of, because it's like this Eddie. Well, I don't even know if we want to call him Eddie because it doesn't look like Eddie, but this Eddie-like character is sort of like part of this like tree, and like some creepy
Yeah, he
trees
looks more like a
behind it.
Nosferatu or one of those things going on.
Yeah, he kind of does look like Nosferatu meets Eddie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I think it was a return to them getting back to their original sound because they went kind of like keyboard and proggy and a little poppy here and there. So Fear the Dark was a good return to form, I thought, musically. And the album kind of the cover kind of reflects that too, as far as the dark imagery.
Yep. What you got, Mike?
I wasn't a big fan of this one at all. I had this like number like 12 on my list. It was, I don't know, it just didn't remind me of Eddie enough. And it's really, I mean, it's a cool picture, don't get me wrong, but for Iron Maiden, I don't know, I'm expecting something a little bigger, a little more detail involved in it.
Yeah, this one came mid-level for me, like around, I don't know, 8 or something like that. Same thing. I like the color scheme. I kind of like the whole Eddie's body's kind of wrapped in the tree. It's kind of weird. It's really weird if you look at it. It's interesting. It's almost like he's growing out of the tree, you know? I love the color scheme. I'm big on that, the black with the yellow and then that kind of like light blue, a little purple. Yeah, I like it. Not my favorite Eddie as far as the Eddie face goes, but I get it. It makes sense to me, right? Yeah. Yeah, not too bad. I mean, and the album is really good. There's a lot of good songs on that record also.
Was that the Mother Russia?
No, that's No Prayer for the Dying. This was
I
Fear
get
of the
those two kind of
Dark.
mixed up for some reason.
What was the
Tail
first
Gunner
song?
was on that.
No, it's No Prayer
See?
for the Dying.
Yeah.
This one was Fear of the Dark. Judas My Guide was on there. What was the first single? The real
That
fast
wasn't
song.
Bring Your Daughter to Slaughter. That was
That's
probably the
No
other
Prayer.
On Fear of the Dark.
What was the first real fast song that they released?
Be Quicker, Be Dead.
It'd be quicker. Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, that was a great song.
Great song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. Okay, so going back down here, looking at our numbers. That came in at number 9. Number 8, Mark Wilkinson, Book of Souls. What you got, Damo?
Yeah, I had this ranked pretty high. This is my favorite of the like post Fear of the Dark album covers, I think. I had this ranked, I think, at like 7 on my list. Yeah, it looks like old Eddie to me, right? Is this the same guy who did the Fear of the Dark Eddie?
Final Frontier, he did.
Okay, so this
and he did Virtual, Final Frontier. Oh wait, no, what else? Yeah, Virtual. No, I'm looking at the wrong guy. I'm sorry. Hold on. We're at Mark Wilkinson. He did Senjutsu.
Okay. So if I had to guess, this guy's going for more of the Derek Riggs type Eddie, because it does kind of look like it looks like Peace of Mind Eddie if he was a Mayan warrior.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's pretty fucking cool. It's real plain, it's just Eddie,
Yeah.
There's nothing in the background. Yeah, I mean, plain Mayan warrior Eddie. It's cool.
Mike D.
Well, yeah, it's Iron Maiden by looking at it. But again, like Senjutsu, it's kind of just a great picture, but kind of boring. Just for an album cover, like that's more of an inside. I want to see more on an Iron Maiden album cover again. But I had it at number 10.
I like this one. It's a little plain. Like I wish there was a background or something like that, but it definitely has that warrior / voodoo looking Eddie kind of thing going on, from in my eyes.
Really cool looking.
Cool look. I mean, the makeup, he's got the half makeup on his face. It's pretty cool. It looks like, something's going on with his head. Maybe he got something fixed. You know what I mean? On top of that is. But the artwork is pretty cool. Even if you look at the ears are elongated, like you said, like the warrior kind of thing, like the old school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty interesting. The album was okay. Also, a little long-winded, as they kind of done recently, a lot of long songs. But yeah, I think it works for Iron Maiden. All right, guys, coming in at number 7, Iron Maiden debut. Iron Maiden from Derek Riggs. What you got, Damo?
This is one of my least favorite ones. I actually had it at 16. I wasn't a fan of this version. I guess they were still trying to like figure out what Eddie is and everything, and because you didn't see this version, but this is so weird, man. Every time I see this, I see Celine Dion. This is like if Celine Dion was Eddie, that's what it looks like.
That's pretty good. Dave.
So sorry, Celine.
Celine Dion. That's pretty good. Mike D, what you got?
I mean, it's just a tough one. I mean, I don't hate it. It looks more like a high school drawing, but I mean, I had it number 6. I mean, it's just so iconic because it's their first album. It was really hard for me to put it low. I don't know. I mean, it's not the best one, but it's iconic. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, for me, this one ranked at about a 7 for me. Same thing, Mike said. It's iconic looking. It's the punk Eddie, right? Before Eddie was Eddie. Before Eddie became metal. Because now originally,
right,
it was made for a punk band originally. I think that was the deal. And
really?
I think, yeah, I don't know, what happened to the band or whatever happened. I think that was the intention. And then it went on to go to, I think, what's his name?
Eric Riggs?
No, their manager, Rod Smallwood, was it?
Oh, okay.
I think Smallwood said, listen, we got to come up with something for these guys because they're kind of shy. We need like some kind of, I guess, imagery for them or something. So, yeah, they went with this, and they already had like that just face piece. If you've seen some of the old Iron Maiden stuff, it just looked like almost like a ghostly face mask or something, and it would like spill blood and stuff like that. And I guess when they seen this, they went with and ran with it for what, fucking almost 50 years. Yeah, I like the album cover. There's definitely, there's definitely little things that are here that they work in the later artwork, which is kind of cool. Yeah, cool. Let me move on to the next one here. We are at number 6. Derek Riggs, Peace of Mind. What you got, Damo?
Yeah, this is it's a great album cover. I had it at 5 on mine. It's Eddie in a padded cell, chained up in a straight jacket. It's it's an iconic image, I think. It's how I see Eddie. He doesn't have his hair in this one. He's bald.
It's got the lobotomy.
Yeah. This is a cool album cover.
Mike D.
Yeah, I had this number 7 on my list. Cool album cover. Again, another one you're kind of feeling bad for him, but yeah, not for too long. You don't really. Yeah, he goes back to his old ways.
Well, if you look at the album cover, if you open up the back, you see like a window, and it looks like he's out of the window now, kind of deal. So it looks like I guess he got out.
Okay.
But if you look at the way some of the, I don't know if people were making up this stuff. As your kids, you're young, so everybody's making, they're making up stories what the album's about, and what the cover's about, and it used to be with the Maiden stuff that, Eddie had a lobotomy, and then after a lobotomy, he was somewhere in time, and then after somewhere in time, he rose from the dead, whatever, and then he was
he
found in
kept that
Egypt.
little bolt from that point on,
right? So there's supposed to be a storyline from what they used to say, where like, and that's how he would pop up in different spots, So there's a storyline somewhere in there. I just don't know if it's true or not, But same thing. When I was a kid, this was a scary looking album cover, which made me want to buy it. Great. And then if you look at I don't know if it was the back or the end. No, it might have been the inward sleeve when you open it up. It had them all sitting at like this long dinner table. And Bruce Dickinson's got the brain. The brain's in the middle. And Bruce Dickinson, I think, might have the knife with the apple on the knife. Like, it's a really cool picture. There's like a knight in the background. It's really wild looking. But all that imagery works so well back then, especially for our age bracket. We were loving that shit. And Damo, because Damo, even though he's younger than us, same thing. He's thrown in the same thing. He loves the same shit, Yeah, love this album. Love the album. Love the album cover. All right, guys. Moving on to number 5, seventh son, Derek Riggs. What you got, Damo?
Yeah, I had this at 8 on mine. whenever I would see this album cover, I would always think of it Iron Maiden as like kind of like happy and poppy or something for some reason. And it was like late 80s too. But it's just like it's like really bright. Which probably is part of the reason why it didn't rank as high as you guys put it. But it is a cool album cover. And it is different than what they've done with the previous album covers. It's very clean looking, you know?
Yeah.
And it is very appealing to the eye, like as far as like the colors that they used. Yeah.
Yep. Mike D.
Yeah, I like this one. I mean, it's probably because it was probably like the time when I got into them when this one came out. But I just remember looking at it, I'm like, man, there's just so much stuff going on. And when you fold it out and take a look at it, and I actually got it right here. This is my original copy of it on cassette tape.
Oh, you can't see it. Yeah, you can't see it.
Yeah.
Get the background.
But I remember like because Iron Maiden even had like you remember it had like all the different. Can you say it or not?
No.
Oh, but they used to have like the back of it was like kind of like covering the tape.
Yeah.
Like a continuation.
Right.
But yeah, even on their cassette tapes, like you could look at it and see it had a lot of detail and stuff what was going on.
Yeah. Well, this record had to do it reincarnation pretty much. So that's why you see Eddie holding like like he's giving birth to, if you look at that, at least that's what I believe.
Mm-hmm. Back then I didn't really understand. Now I understand a little bit better. Back then I would always look at it like, wow, this is a messed up looking album.
Today is born the seventh one. the blah blah blah, the seventh son. It's got the whole definitely a concept kind of record. This is one of my favorite records of all time. I mean, Moonchild. I mean, there's so many good songs.
I
love this album.
Oh, I love this record. I mean, I could do without the Can I Play with Madness.
I like that. Yeah, I like that song.
I mean, it's not bad,
song.
but I can do it.
Yeah,
it's a little commercial for me.
All the poppy side.
But album cover, like Dame said, pleasing to the eye. Man, if it's in a record rack, it pops. It pops. It's not your plain black, whatever. You look at it and you want to pick it up to look at it. Color scheme, great. I love it's got the Somewhere in Time looking Eddie, kind of, because that's what it came out from, right? Was it Somewhere in Time was before this? So yeah. So same thing, Eddie Somewhere in Time. Now he's reincarnated or whatever the deal is. Really cool album cover. I love all the Ice Glacier looking stuff in the background.
Yeah.
Really. And then if you looked at the interfold, if I can remember, it had like an Eddie sitting at a desk, looking all kind of like
with the crystal ball.
Yeah, with the crystal ball like a prophet, like he's Nostradamus or one of those things, Yeah, I love this record. Even when they did like when you went to the tour and they had the t-shirts, you never really seen white t-shirts. They actually had a white t-shirt with that, which you didn't see too often, Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was definitely cool. Okay, going on to our next one. We are at number 4. Killers, Derek Riggs. What you got, Damo?
I had this at number 2. If it wasn't for that Hugh Syme album cover, it would have been 1. I mean, this is the Eddie.
Yeah.
This is the Eddie, I think. This is the one that I think of. Yeah. The look. I mean, he's like so sinister looking. He's holding like a hammer with blood dripping down from it. He's like looking down at a victim, which you can't see.
Now you know who that's supposed to be, who he's got. If you look at some of the other stuff, and I read a couple books on the stuff back in the day, it's supposed to be Margaret Thatcher. Like that was the deal. Like, yeah. So if you look at some of the artwork, you'll see some stuff where like now she's after Eddie. It's interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, there's definitely some folklore stuff in there.
Yeah. It's just a great album cover, man. For being what is this? 45 years old or 40?
What was this? Late 79, maybe?
Killers came out 81, maybe.
It was the second one. So
I think it was in the 70s. Was it 81?
81 came out February of 81. So the artwork was done sometime in the late 1980. I mean, it still holds up.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like something that
you still see it on t-shirts everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's iconic. It's an iconic look, I mean,
I
really
agree.
Created something. I mean, with this is the Eddie, it's a second record. This is the one that you see. They finally got it right,
Yep. What do you got, Mike D?
Sorry. This, I mean, like any ones of these next ones probably could have been my first pick, or just any given day. This is, like Damien said, the true iconic form of them. And this was, I remember seeing back when I was in school, like the older kids were wearing a T-shirt with this picture on it, and I didn't even know what Iron Maiden did back then, but I knew that they were a rock band, and I knew they had that image.
Yep.
And it was just on about every shirt that I saw kids wearing of it.
Yeah, and if you look at it, Eddie did the Axl treatment before Axl did it. Remember, everybody was all glammed out. Axl had the high hair.
Mm-hmm.
The music changed. Axl's hair went right down. Well, Eddie had the punk hair. The music changed. Eddie's hair came down. You know, prophetic, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
Prophetic. Yeah, this is the classic Eddie. This and Number of the Beast are the two classic Eddies. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the album cover, the colors are unbelievable. You got the dark, you got the street
Clouds.
light, the clouds are, they're like purple, black, and you have the buildings in the back, which they said was actually taken from a building from where one of them lived or something. So it's actually an actual building they replicated, kind of cartoony, I guess. Same thing, dude. It's like if you look at all the colors, I'm telling you, if colors are done right, they just pop against the black, yeah, if you look at this, it's a pleasing to the eye to cover. The little glow from light. If you look at his shirt, the little yellow, like the yellow streaks, it just glows. Like it's yeah. This could have been
the hand
easily
coming out, holding.
And the handhold. Yeah, this could have easily been one. I mean, they're interchangeable. They are interchangeable at this point, probably. Yeah. Okay, number 3, Derek Riggs, Number of the Beast. What you got, Damo?
Yeah, I think I had this at number 3 on my list also. I mean, this is another one. This is it's the Iron Maiden Killers version of Eddie with Number of the Beast, man. The devil on the cover also. I mean, in hell. I mean, this is one of the greatest metal records of all time. Probably their number 1 album.
Yes.
One of my favorite records of all time. Every song is great. It's not one filler song, but songs aside, the album cover is iconic again. Yep. Great one.
How could you see that in the store and not buy it?
Yeah.
It's just, how can you not buy it? It's scary. It's same thing. When I was a kid, it was like one of the scariest album covers I ever seen. Mike D, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, though, he's got this playful look on his face, and he's controlling the devil, man. That's Eddie for you. You're not supposed to sympathize.
Yeah. You have the devil controlling the people, right? And then you have Eddie controlling the devil.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty wild.
I can't really tell, but is it like Eddie has the devil on his strings almost?
It's like a marionette.
Like a marionette, yeah.
That's what I thought.
And the devil's doing the same thing to the people.
Yeah.
Which look like little Eddies. Yeah, it's a wild album cover. Eddie's still sporting his maybe his Jordashes or whatever they were back in the day. His Sansoons.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
I don't even know that.
The Jordache from the Sansoons.
Sansoons?
They sing it back at least 100 or so back in the day. Yo, name right.
That's funny.
Remember the Z Cavaricis?
That was after the Sassoons and the Jordache came.
That was after. I'm sure. Yeah,
after. Yeah, great album cover, great color scheme. I mean, just classic, man, classic. Still selling shirts like hotcakes. That album cover still sells. Okay, coming in at number 2, Somewhere in Time, Derek Riggs. What you got, Damo?
This is a great album cover. I mean, because there's so much going in there. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm sure you got all that info, but there's so many details and it's all connected to certain things. And I mean, it's just a really cool album cover. I mean, you don't see shit like this anymore.
Right, exactly. Mike D.
Yeah, this reminded me of like something like a Blade Runner. Like, had to be influenced by that. There's a lot of little futuristic things. It reminds me of that movie a lot, which is probably why I had that at number 1, or could have had it at number 2. Depends. Depends on the number 1.
Yeah, I had this at number 2, and not that I'm the biggest fan of the Terminator-looking Eddie, but there's so much going on in this album cover. There's so many Easter eggs that you probably still find new ones today if you look at it. Just so much stuff going on. It's a very interesting album cover, which they used to do stuff like that back in the day, which you barely see anymore. There's stuff with song titles in there. The Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner restaurant. You know what I mean? It's in there. 22, if I could say, Acacia Avenue. There's something for that. You got a girl that looks like a prostitute in the window, Charlotte the Harlot. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on.
Yeah, now you get album covers like Harry's House.
Right. Harry's House. We all visited it. We didn't like it, remember? We
ran out of
like
Harry's
it's pretty
House.
boring.
Ran out of that place.
Yeah. So, but it's got that, even the font, it's got the digital fonts on it. I mean, it worked perfect for Wasted Years and all that stuff. I mean, the sound, that the intro for Wasted Years, it all kind of fit with that album cover. It all worked well. It definitely all worked well. But yeah, if you haven't got a chance to really look at this album cover, look at the back cover, so much stuff going on.
And then listen to it, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. There's like an Eddie Grim Reaper in the background. There's so much shit going on in this album cover. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, it's up there. All right, coming in at number 1, Power Slave, Derek Riggs. What you got, Damo?
Yeah, this is such a great cover. I mean, it's like Eddie in Egypt. Eddie is sort of like a pharaoh king, with the Sphinx next to him, and I mean, just a great cover. It is clean looking. It's not dark, but at the same time, it is dark because Eddie's like some kind of like pharaoh warrior or something.
Yeah.
And the stage set they had for this, on that tour and everything was just for that time,
That was the best. That was the best.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you just can't recreate that. I mean, it's just amazing. I remember being a kid and was this 84? So I was probably like, like 6 or 6. No, I was like 7 or 8. And I was like the annoying little kid, and there was like the teenagers were like 14, 15. They used to play step ball up the street. Yeah. And they were like all metalheads. They have mullets and Iron Maiden t-shirts all the time. I always remember seeing them. Power Slave. There was one dude whose name they called him Blockhead. That was like his name, and he always used to wear an Iron Maiden shirt. He was like a badass kind of metal dude, Blockhead. He used to ride a 10 speed all the time.
Great.
For some reason, I still remember him. I wonder what happened to Blockhead, but yeah, I just remember those guys wearing all these Iron Maiden shirts. That's when I first knew of them. And I did not ever hear Iron Maiden until a few years later. But for some reason, I think at the same time, remember that Yes song, Owner of a Lonely Heart?
Yeah.
That was Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like a song on Power Slave or something.
Where's the song at? I can't find the song.
Yeah, I had no idea. I don't know why I associated that song with Iron Maiden and this record, but it was all around the same time, and I don't know, but
that's funny.
Yeah.
I couldn't even picture them doing that.
Yeah, right. God.
With AI, you can make it happen now.
Yeah, right. We got Mike.
Yeah, like I said, this could be interchangeable, but on my list, this was number 1. I mean, I'm a sucker for all that Egyptian stuff and everything, and just a detail, like just the people walking around at the bottom of it are just so detailed. It's just like it's artwork. It's not an album cover.
Yeah, dude. My favorite. It's my favorite cover from them. It goes hand in hand with kind of like the way Seventh Son is. If you see this in a record bin, it pops out. That color scheme is great. It's great. It's so good, and I got denied, but doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. You know how like you go on Amazon, you see them big paintings, like them wall paintings. They're like in 3 pieces. They
Yeah.
had one of Power Slave. And I was like, I'm going to buy it for the house. For my
You got
upstairs.
denied?
Yeah, it doesn't
But
mean I'm
but
not going to do it, but I got them.
but you
She's
got
like,
a
you don't want
husband
to
and
put
a
that
dog
there.
thing hanging up.
Yeah. I'm like, she's like, you're gonna put up an Iron Maiden thing. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's Egypt. I'm a sucker for all the Egypt stuff too.
You know what it always reminded me of too? There's an Earth, Wind and Fire album cover. That's got
Yes,
like right.
yes, it does. I got to find.
Yeah.
I'll put up the graphic too near it. I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking
I
about.
just picture was it the 40-year-old virgin? We're like, did you frame this Toto poster?
Yeah, or was it Asia? It was an Asia poster.
Asia,
Even
yes.
better. It was an Asia poster. Yeah, I mean this album cover is beautiful, but like I said, I'm a sucker for all the Egyptian looking stuff too. But it's so well done. It's so like clean, like Dame said. It's clean looking, man. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah. So there you have it. Iron Maiden Power Slave comes out on top. I'm sure we're gonna get another new Maiden record soon, probably another year or so. They usually
I
pop them out
can't
every 2
wait.
3 years. But we'll see what happens. That's all I got. Till next time. Mixtapes and tasty cakes. See you later.